Public Bill, second reading.
Mr. Speaker, sir, let me first congratulate you for your appointment as Speaker of the House, and now move that the Finance Bill number 10 of 2024 be read a second time. The Finance Bill number 10 of 2024 provides for the implementation of measures announced in the Budget Speech 2024-2025 and its annex, and for matters connected, consequential, or incidental to it. The bill brings amendments to 94 enactments which cover the three themes of the budget, namely fostering economic dynamism, working towards a sustainable and inclusive Mauritius, and building our future. Mr. Speaker, sir, the main amendments contained in the bill will be explained. I will now speak on the main amendments which relate to fostering economic dynamism. Clause 6 amends the Bank of Mauritius Act to further strengthen the operational independence of the central bank to deliver on its mandate of monetary policy and financial stability. Clause 7 amends the Banking Act to, amongst others, review the terms for the appointment of auditors for branches or subsidiaries of a foreign bank, and remove the time frame of at least 24 hours of notice to the public before the day on which an institution proposes to transact business with the public, when that day is a bank holiday or a public holiday. Clause 14 amends the Companies Act to, inter alia, require the board of a company to notify the registrar of companies on the resignation of a director or that of the secretary from its company, and provide for companies holding a global business license or an authorized company to comply with provisions of the Companies Act relating to prejudiced shareholders. Clause 16 amends the Construction Industry Authority Act 2023 to, inter alia, allow local contractors and consultants specialized in different fields to enter into joint ventures in order to enhance the competitiveness of the industry through increased participation in bidding exercises. Clause 20 amends the Cybersecurity and Cybercrime Act 2021 to enable Computer Emergency Response Team of Mauritius to, inter alia, participate, provide assistance, and conduct cybersecurity initiatives at national, regional, and international levels. Clause 23 amends the Economic Development Board Act to introduce a 10-year expert occupation permit to attract foreign talents in wealth management, family office, virtual assets, and virtual tokens, and reduce the threshold for occupation permits for professionals from 30,000 rupees to 22,500 rupees. Clause 25 amends the Employment Relations Act to provide that the period for determination of reinstatement cases be extended from 60 to 90 days to give the Employment Relations Tribunal ample time to process the cases. Clause 31 amends the Finance and Audit Act to, amongst others, provide for every department to table at the National Assembly its annual report on performance and empower the internal control cadre to exercise its internal audit functions. Clause 33 amends the Financial Reporting Act to provide for the registration of public interest entities to the National Committee on Corporate Governance. Clause 34 amends the Financial Services Act to, amongst others, introduce timeframes for the processing of licenses falling under the regulatory purview of the FSC, and set the time frame of 6 months after closure of its financial year for an authorized company to file with the FSC its financial summary, accounts, financial statements, or returns. Clause 35 amends the Fisheries Act to inter alia provide for an application for the grant, issue or renewal of a license or an authorization for an activity under the Fisheries Act to be made through NELS. Clause 36 amends the Forests and Reserves Act to allow the removal of protected plants found on state land or reserves for national projects or in the interest of public safety following authorization from the Conservator of Forests. Clause 37 amends the Freeport Act to allow a company to operate under both a global business license issued by the Financial Services Commission and a Freeport certificate. Provide for the extension of the maximum period during which goods may be warehoused in a Freeport zone by 3 years, and authorize a fulfillment center as a Freeport activity, provided that it does not include any manufacturing activity. Clause 38 amends the Gambling Regulatory Authority Act to provide for quarterly payment facilities for bookmaker license conducting fixed odds betting on local race and totalizator operator license, and make it mandatory for operators to keep all their gaming machines, limited payout machines, jackpot system powered on a 24/7 basis. Clause 40 amends the Immigration Act to, amongst others, introduce a 10-year expert occupation permit to attract foreign talents in wealth management, family office, virtual assets, and virtual tokens. Clause 42 amends the Industrial Court Act to provide for the protection of the permanent secretary of the ministry responsible for the subject of labor from liability so that criminal or civil action cannot be instituted against him for any act done or omitted in good faith. Clause 43 amends the Information and Communication Technologies Act to, amongst others, provide for the appointment process of the chairperson or the vice chairperson of the Information and Communication Technologies Appeal Tribunal, and allow the authorized officer of Information and Communication Technologies Authority to seek assistance from the police when conducting any inspection or any intervention. And Clause 45 amends the Irrigation Authority Act to prohibit the construction of permanent structures within an irrigation area without the approval of the Irrigation Authority, exempt owners of abandoned lands in irrigation zone from payment of irrigation dues, and allow an authorized officer of the Irrigation Authority to have access to any private-owned land on which sources of water used for irrigation purposes are found. Clause 48 amends the Le Monde Héritage Trust Fund Act to review the composition of the board of Le Monde Heritage Trust Fund. Clause 49 amends the Local Government Act to inter alia provide that every council will be under the responsibility of either a Director General or a Chief Executive, allow the Valuation Department to use information obtained from various sources for the purpose of compiling and maintaining the cadastral database and determining the cadastral value of an immovable property, and extend the validity period of building and land use permit from 2 years to 3 years. Clause 50 amends the Mauritius Agricultural Marketing Act to allow for the wholesale of imported products in the national wholesale market. Clause 51 amends the Mauritius Cane Industry Authority Act to inter alia regulate the transport charges paid by small planters for transportation of cane. Clause 52 amends the Mauritius Deposit Insurance Scheme Act to enable banks and non-banks deposit-taking institutions to effect an initial contribution to the Deposit Insurance Fund on such date as may be specified by the Board of the Mauritius Deposit Insurance Corporation Limited. Clause 55 amends the Merchant and Shipping Act to inter alia require the Superintendent of Shipping, where death has occurred on board any foreign ship, to record the reported cause of death and report the matter to the country of registration of the ship and allow termination of registration of a ship in Mauritius in cases of non-compliance with prescribed norms and standards. Clause 56 amends the Morcellement Act to, amongst others, provide that no person shall make an application for a morcellement permit unless the proposed morcellement has a green forest. Clause 57 amends the National Agricultural Product Regulatory Office Act to exempt a person from applying for an export license for the export of tea below 2 kilograms. Clause 60 amends the National Payment Systems Act to, amongst others, empower the Bank of Mauritius to grant in principle approval to an applicant to operate a payment system, clearance system, or settlement system, or to act as a payment system provider. Extend the authority of the BOM to authorize a person to operate a clearing system or settlement system, and enable the Bank of Mauritius to approve the extension of the appointment of a firm of auditors for an additional period not exceeding 2 years. Clause 64 amends the Non-Citizen Property Restriction Act to allow a foreign entity to hold an immovable property by virtue of a non-renewable lease agreement for industrial or commercial purposes for a term not exceeding 30 years. Clause 73 amends the Public Procurement Act to, amongst others, provide for the setting up of a procurement management and contract administration unit to inter alia ensure that approved projects are implemented in a timely manner and within approved costs, and provide advice to public bodies on project management and contract management, and allow for the independent review panel to require the Central Procurement Board to furnish all relevant information and attend any meeting. Clause 81 amends the Securities Act to make it mandatory to seek the approval of the Financial Services Commission prior to appointment of an audit firm by a closed-end fund. Clause 88 amends the Sugar Industry Efficiency Act to include a representative of the ministry responsible for the subject of land drainage to be a member of the Land Conversion Committee, and allow the Sugar Investment Trust to also sell land to option holders and the general public. Clause 89 amends the Sugar Insurance Fund Act to limit the period of tenure of office of chairperson and members appointed by the minister responsible for the subject of agro-industry and food security to 1-year term, and that they are eligible for reappointment. Clause 90 amends the Tourism Authority Act to inter alia align the validity period of a tourist accommodation certificate with that of the tourist enterprise license. Clause 94 amends the Virtual Asset and Initial Token Offering Services Act to impose a statutory obligation on a virtual asset service provider to appoint a senior executive at all times, duly approved by the FSC. Clause 95 amends the Workers' Rights Act 2019 to inter alia provide that workers on maternity or paternity leave must not be discriminated against in respect of career development or opportunity of promotion, and that termination of employment cannot be effected in such circumstances. Provide that a worker working from home and performing excessive hours of work has the right to disconnect. Provide for more flexible working arrangements by giving a worker the option of taking time off instead of being paid overtime. Ease labor management at level of enterprises and to better protect the right of workers. Consequential amendments are being made to Private Recruitment Agencies Act 2023, extending the entitlement to an allowance paid during cyclone warning clause 3 and 4 to other circumstances where work is performed during heavy or torrential rainfall or period of safety built-in. Provide for the refund of vacation leave. Increase the maternity leave from 14 to 16 weeks to give more time to the mother to recover and to look after her child, and provide for a mother who gives birth to twins or triplets or multiple births or to a premature baby, a special 2-week additional maternity leave, and provide an increase in the length of paternity leave from 1 week to 4 weeks, since the first days of parenthood is fundamental in building family bonds and in the development of the baby. Mr. Speaker, sir, I now come to the second theme, which is about working towards a sustainable and inclusive Mauritius. Clause 12 amends the Civil Status Act to inter alia provide for keeping records of the adoptive parents and certified extract of birth certificate in cases of adoption plénière, adoption simple, and légitimation par adoption, and specify in the recording of the birth entry of a child the national identity card number of each parent as mentioned on their national identity card. Clause 21 amends the Declaration of Assets Act to, amongst others, provide for the Financial Crime Commission to monitor the assets and liabilities of any declarant for the purpose of detecting and investigating corruption and money laundering offenses or unexplained wealth. Clause 24 amends the Electricity Act 2005 to, amongst others, regulate the installation of domestic battery energy storage system in order to avoid safety hazards during maintenance work carried out by the CB, and provide for determination of way leaves for installing or keeping installed electric lines, equipment, and poles to facilitate the implementation of renewable energy projects. Clause 26 amends the Energy Efficiency Act to allow for the development of a regulatory framework for energy performance contracting. Clause 32 amends the Financial Crime Commission Act 2023 to inter alia align the Act with Recommendation 38 of the Financial Action Task Force methodology, which require confiscation of proceeds of crime and such property of corresponding value. Clause 39 amends the Higher Education Act to implement government policy pertaining to infrastructural projects in the higher education sector. Clause 47 amends the Law Practitioners Act to inter alia make it mandatory for any law practitioner or legal officer to every year participate in a continuous professional development program for at least 12 hours, including 2 hours of ethics. Consequential amendments are being made to, amongst others, of the Institute for Judicial and Legal Studies Act. Clause 8 and 59 amend the Central Electricity Board Act and National Land Transport Authority Act, respectively, to provide for consequential amendments relating to the licensing of electric motor vehicle charging stations. Clause 68 amends the Port Act to inter alia deter vessels from staying idle in the port for a period exceeding 6 months. Clause 70 amends the Private Pension Schemes Act to create an obligation for seeking the approval of the Financial Services Commission prior to a shift or conversion of a private pension scheme. Clause 72 and 74 amend the Probation of Offenders Act and the Reform Institutions Act to provide that every member of the respective committee to be paid such fees as may be determined by the responsible minister. Clause 79 amends the Roads Traffic Act to review the definition of classic or vintage motor vehicle as a car aged 40 years or more from its date of original registration in or outside Mauritius, and provide for the licensing of electric motor vehicle charging stations. Clause 80 amends the Roads Act to ensure that the provisions relating to the display and erection of advertisement and advertising structures are harmonized between legislations. Consequential amendments are being made to the Advertisement Regulation Act, Roads Act, and Road Development Authority Act. Clause 91 amends the University of Mauritius Act to provide for service of process in legal proceedings to be served to the Vice-Chancellor instead of the Registrar, given that the former is the principal academic and administrative officer of the University of Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will now elaborate on the third theme of my speech, which is about building our future. Clause 4 amends the Animal Diseases Act to inter alia provide for the implementation of National Livestock Identification System for the registration of livestock establishments for traceability in the veterinary sector and disease surveillance. Clause 5 amends the Ayurvedic and other traditional medicines Act to facilitate the registration of specialists in the fields of Ayurvedic and other traditional medicines. Clause 13 amends the Clinical Trial Act to inter alia provide for a sponsor to make an application for a trial license to the Clinical Research Regulatory Council through the National Electronic Licensing System. Clause 15 amends the Competition Act to allow for the Executive Director to appeal to the Supreme Court against an order or direction, provided that the order or direction is in relation to a matter investigated by him or which he has caused to be investigated. Clause 17 amends the Consumer Protection Act to ensure a stronger legal framework in relation to e-commerce and digital marketplace. Similar provision is being made under the Fair Trading Act at Clause 30 and ensure a stronger legal framework with regards to the display of prices. Clause 18 amends the Custom Acts, amongst others, to defer until 30 June 2026 the penalty provision for failure by an importer to submit a bill of entry for the clearance of goods within 5 working days. Clause 19 amends the Customs Tariff Act to allow a beneficiary of a duty-exempted motor vehicle to benefit from another duty-exempted motor vehicle, provided he reimburses the proportionate duties and taxes remaining due on the current motor vehicle. The new motor vehicle should be cleared within 9 months. Abolish the applicable 15% customs duty on milk beverages obtained from nuts, and create new HS codes to identify those products on which excise duty or VAT is being abolished or reduced as mentioned in the annex to the Budget Speech 2024-2025. Clause 22 54 and 67 amends the Dental Council Act, Medical Council Act, and Pharmacy Council Act, respectively, to review the requirement for a higher school certificate or its equivalent for the registration of dental surgeons, general practitioners, and pharmacists, respectively. Clause 29 amends the Excise Act to, amongst others, creating a new category of wines with a lower alcohol strength and a new category of golden rums to allow local manufacture of these products. Renew the negative excise duty refund scheme for a further period of 1 year up to 30 June 2025. Abolish the excise duty of ₹2 per unit on plastic bottles made from plant-based materials, and grant 100% excise duty exemption to inter alia a priest as an artisanal fisher and a parent or legal guardian of a disabled person. Clause 41 amends the Income Tax Act to, amongst others, increase the maximum allowable deduction for donation made by an individual to an approved charitable institution, including a religious body, from 50,000 to 100,000 rupees. Allow taxpayers to deduct from their taxable income the amount of wages paid to a carer up to a maximum of 30,000 rupees in an income year, provided the latter's CSG and SF contributions have been paid. Grant to an individual an additional deduction in respect of the fees paid for a dependent child to attend a fee-paying private primary or secondary school up to a maximum of 60,000 rupees per child in an income year. Increase the exemption threshold on lump sum received as pension, retiring allowance, or severance allowance from 2.5 million rupees to 3 million rupees. Exempt from income tax as from 1st January 2024, any compensation payable by government or a public sector body for losses directly or indirectly suffered as a result of a natural disaster. Implement the decision of government to provide a monthly financial assistance for payment of national minimum wage and salary compensation 2024. Renew the Prime à l'Emploi scheme, which targets unemployed women and persons with disabilities for financial year 2024-2025, and extend the scheme to part-time employees who work for a minimum of 20 hours in a week. Exempt from income tax any allowance paid by government to an individual under a financial assistance scheme. Introduce the corporate climate responsibility levy, which is equivalent to 2% of a company's chargeable income. Exempt profit derived from the sale of virtual assets and virtual tokens from income tax. Grant to a company a deduction up to a maximum of 100,000 rupees in an income year in respect of donations made to an approved charitable institution, including a religious body. Grant to a company a double deduction in respect of expenditure incurred to support the work of a professional in the arts. Grant to a company a triple deduction capped at 1 million rupees in respect of donations made through electronic means to an NGO involved in combating drug abuse, prevention of gender-based violence, or poverty alleviation. Grant to a company a tax credit of 25% of the expenditure incurred in an income year in respect of a creche or the cost of setting up a child daycare center for the benefits of its employees. Extend the investment tax credit of 15% per annum over 3 years to cover capital expenditure incurred on the cost acquisition of artificial intelligence and patents, extend the partial exemption regime of 80% to a company holder of a payment intermediary services license or robotic and artificial intelligence-enabled advisory services license, and allow for financial year 2024-2025 the one-off transfer of 1 billion rupees of CSR fund by the MRA to the Consolidated Fund for financing social schemes and programs including Overseas Treatment Scheme, Grant for Antenatal Care, and l'Allocation Égalité des Chances. Clause 46 amends the Land Act to inter alia reintroduce the arrears payment scheme for another year. A debtor will benefit from the full waiver of interest and penalties if he settles his debt outstanding as at 30 June 2024 or before 26 June 2025, and deem that an effective change in ownership of a company will occur where there is a change of more than 10% in its shareholding. Clause 53 amends the Mauritius Revenue Authority Act to, amongst others, reintroduce the tax arrears settlement scheme, which provides for full waiver of penalties and interest where tax arrears are paid in full by 26 June 2025, and introduce the contribution arrears payments scheme, which provides for full waiver or waiver of 75% of penalties, interest, or surcharge, as the case may be, where arrears and social contribution, NPF and SF contribution, or training levy are paid in full by 26 June 2025. Clause 61 amends the National Pension Act to, inter alia, provide for payment of child's allowance to beneficiaries of basic pensions irrespective of the number of children, and increase the quantum of child's allowance to 2,500 rupees, provide an additional monthly disability allowance of 3,000 rupees to a disabled child of less than 18 years who benefits from the invalid basic pension, review the operational mechanism of the National Pension Fund and the National Savings Fund, increase by 500 rupees the quantum of basic retirement pension, basic invalidity pension, basic widow's pension, and basic orphan pensions, increase the quantum of guardian allowance payable to person taking responsibility of orphans to 2,000 rupees, and provide for an increase in the inmate allowance to 1,500 rupees to improve the well-being of retirees in charitable institutions. Clause 62 amends the Native Terrestrial Biodiversity and National Parks Act to enlarge the mandate of the Conservation Fund to finance, amongst others, biodiversity and conservation projects and forestry-related activities. Clause 63 amends the Non-Citizens Act to, inter alia, reduce from 30 working days to 21 working days delay for an application to be deemed to have been granted, and provide for that the Ministry issued a notification that the application is still under consideration where the application has not been determined within the delay of 21 working days. Clause 65 amends the Pagiometric Act to clarify that a person may by inheritance hold more than one campement site lease. Clauses 66 and 87 amend the Pensions Act and the Statutory Bodies Pension Funds Act to refund to the heirs of a public officer appointed before 1st January 2013 and who dies while in service the share of contributions that the officer has made, including any pensionable service in statutory bodies, and effect the payment of the death gratuity payable upon the demise of a pensioner to his surviving spouse, or if there is no surviving spouse, to his legal personal representative. Clause 69 amends the Private Health Institution Act to cater for research. Clause 74 amends the Registration Duty Act to inter alia extend the home ownership and home loan schemes up to 30 June 2025, extend the direct debit payment facility currently given to banks, notaries, and attorneys to motor vehicle dealers, and deem that an effective change in ownership of a company will occur where there is a change of more than 10% in its shareholding. Clause 76 amends the Registration of Associations Act to inter alia facilitate the registration of amendment of rules of a registered association and remove the requirement for the secretary of an association to deposit with the registrar of association an original document of the security bond furnished by an officer. Clause 77 amends the removal of Sand Act to allow for sand extraction for the purpose of beach nourishment. Clause 83 amends the Social Contribution and Social Benefits Act to, amongst others, increase the amount of retirement benefit payable as from 1st January 2024 to a person aged 75 years or above from 1,000 to 2,500 rupees, extend the payment of the CSG income allowance until June 2025, including end-of-year bonus. The amount of allowance payable is being increased as follows: 3,000 rupees for individual deriving income not exceeding 20,000 rupees, 2,500 for individuals deriving income from 20,000 rupees but not exceeding 25,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees for individuals deriving income from 25,000 but not exceeding 30,000 rupees, and 1,500 rupees for individuals deriving income above 30,000 rupees but not exceeding 50,000 rupees. Extend the payment of the CSG child allowance until June 2025, including end-of-year bonus, and increase the monthly allowance from 2,000 rupees to 2,500 rupees. Introduce the revenue minimum guarantee allowance to ensure that all full-time employees have a monthly revenue minimum guarantee of 20,000 rupees. Introduce the monthly school allowance of 2,000 rupees for children up to the age of 10 years. Introduce the monthly equal chance allowance of 2,000 rupees for every household earning less than 20,000 rupees monthly. Introduce the maternity allowance of 2,000 rupees, which will be paid to a mother for 9 months, as from the month in which she has reached the 3rd trimester of her pregnancy. Introduce the one-off pregnancy care allowance of 3,000 to pregnant women upon completion of not less than 6 medical checkups required to be followed during her pregnancy, and provide an additional monthly allowance of 3,000 rupees to a disabled child of less than 18 years who benefits from CSG disability allowance. Clause 92 amends the Value Added Tax Act to inter alia provide that the rate of exchange should be specified in the VAT invoice for supplies expressed in a currency other than Mauritius currency. Exempt the entrance fee to a digital art gallery from VAT, and increase the once-in-a-lifetime VAT exemption on the purchase of a taxi to a maximum of 120,000 rupees. Clause 93 amends the Veterinary Council Act to, amongst others, allow a person holding a degree or diploma or an equivalent qualification in veterinary medicine and surgery to provide such veterinary treatment to an animal as the veterinary surgeon may authorize, and allow for the temporary registration of a non-citizen as veterinary surgeon where he undertakes to work in a company or any other body in the field of veterinary medicine or surgery. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm proposing amendments at committee stage to the Construction Industry Authority Act, the Customs Tariff Act, the Fair Trading Act, the Income Tax Act, the National Land Transport Authority Act, and the Workers' Rights Act. These amendments are being circulated in the House. I now commend the bill to the House.